Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to do a tutorial today on this braid. I don't know if you would necessarily call this a braid or not, and I hope I'm getting this in the camera. But this is what I'm going to show you how to do. So I've been wearing this for probably about 5 hours, so it's kind of gotten roughed up, which is what you want. But it does look a little haggard now because I've been out for a while with it. And I just want to say too that I have the utmost respect for YouTube vloggers. If anyone could see the ridiculous pile of items that I have this camera sitting on right now, it's pretty hysterical. I'll just tell you, it's on a box, a like fancy Booker's bourbon box with a Aquaphor tub, a Tarte eyeshadow palette, a Dior little travel size lotion and perfume thing, and I had to take a random bag of bath salts and stick that underneath the like lens of the camera because my camera doesn't want to stand up. So for everyone that it just looks so easy. It looks like they're just like, oh, here I am. No, nope. It was a lot. So I'm gonna take this out now and I will redo it on camera and hopefully give you a good play-by-play on how to get it. Alrighty, I'm back. So I took it all out, brushed everything out, and this is what you get. And for anyone that's wondering like, oh my god, Katie, why are you gonna cut your hair off? Let me just show you what the actual texture of my hair is like. I don't know if you can see. It is not, it's not a pretty texture. So anyway, and that's kind of my point too. It's important about this tutorial. It doesn't matter, like whatever your hair looks like, if you just let it air dry, whatever, it's fine, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be straight, doesn't have to be curled. If you want to at the end curl a couple pieces to make it look like it was curled, then you can do that. Also, all you will need is hair, fingers, and let's see how many of these I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I've got 8 of these. Clear. Oh, I now have 7. I have more. These clear little plasticky hair ties. I don't know what you want to call them. Hair tie. So you'll need quite a few of those, just depending on the length of your hair. Mine's pretty darn long, so I need quite a few. Okay, so starting out, there is no exact science to this, okay? So you're just gonna grab some hair, preferably like the top of this whole section. Grab all that so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. And some of it's going to probably fall out on this side. That's fine, doesn't matter. And I'm sorry if I'm a dork and I have to keep looking in the viewfinder, but normally I would try to look at the camera, but I'm trying to also make sure that I'm like focused and you can see the right part of my head. Okay, so you're going to start by grabbing this top section kind of low, because what you're going to end up doing is once you have this hair tie around here, you're going to flip it through. So you don't want to put it up high, because if you do, it's going to be really tight and it's going to be hard to flip it. And then instead of your hair being kind of like loose and tousled and pretty, it's going to be like tight. So you don't want that. So you just kind of want to grip it and put the hair tie in a little bit lower. Try to make sure you separate any hair in here, because it doesn't feel very good when you get it stuck kind of in that in-between, when you've got hair stuck from the bottom through there. So just separate that once you're done. You don't need to get it super wrapped around, you know, wrap it around twice if you have thick hair, maybe 3 times if you have thin hair. And then you're going to stick your finger in there in the middle of it, pull this apart, and then you're going to flip this piece into that little hole. Okay, so there's the starting point, and we'll make this less like tight in a minute. But now you're going to take the bottom, gather everything else. So you want to gather from this side, pull it all over. Let me move this that way. Okay, it's stuck on my earring. So you're going to gather all of this hair, and you're going to want some of these pieces to kind of come out, so you don't need to wrap all of that in there. Now these 2 pieces are going to kind of be tied in together, so you want to make sure that when you put the hair tie on this bottom area, it's close enough to the top rubber band. So either put it in higher in the bottom or pull this down some if you need to. So I'm going to just grab this bottom area, throw a hair tie around that. Okay, perfect. All right, so now you can see, if you look at the back, it looks very separate. Doesn't look very pretty. So to fix that, I'm going to grab from back here and start to kind of pull. Is that in focus? Okay. I'm going to pull a lot of this out some to loosen it up some. That way when I tie these together, they'll blend better and not look so weird and separated. So then you'll want to come around in the front and do some of that in here too, because the idea here is to make this look nice and loose, tousled, not tight. And then, you know, you'll come back around here after or now and pull some of that out if it's bugging you. Okay. Top piece is flipped in, leave the bottom just the way it is. You don't need to flip it in. You can if you want to, but you don't need to. So I'm going to take this bottom here and I'm going to just divide this hair into 2. Okay. Okay. This top piece is going to stay where it's kind of hanging. You're going to take these 2 pieces on either side and wrap them around this top ponytail. I'm going to gather that. And I'm going to put a hair tie around it. So it's kind of sandwiching that top ponytail in there. Now, because this is all gonna start getting thinner, like I'm gonna wrap this one around 3 times, just because 2 times it'll be kind of loose. That's really preference, but so you can kind of see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm now going to take this as it's already separated here, and I'm going to flip this piece inside like I did on this top ponytail area. Okay. There's that. So now, this is what you got. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Divide it into two, sandwich it around, and slap a hair tie on there. Try to get my hands out of the way here. Okay. That one felt a bit thicker, so I'm just going to wrap that one twice. And then once it's secured with the hair tie, I'm just going to flip this one in. Okay, now you got this. You're going to keep repeating this exact same thing. Let me move this so you can see. How about this? No, it's not going to work. Okay, you're going to divide the bottom into two, wrap it around, and put a hair tie on it. You have to look like while you're doing this, you'll try to get these little bird's nests. Just use your other finger to separate it so you don't get left with a tangled up mess. I hope you can see that. These clear hair bands are more forgiving. I would definitely suggest getting the clear ones and not the black rubber bands, y'all. Trust me. It's not just about aesthetics. Like those black rubber bands will pull your hair out. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this one inside. Okay. Taking the bottom, separating the bottom into two, sandwiching it around in front. And I'm going to secure that with the hair tie. Okay, and I'm going to flip this one inside out. So now, as you're getting close to the bottom, there's going to be a little bit less hair to work with. So you just kind of have to end it where it's going to look best. I still have a little bit more, so I'm going to keep going. But I mean, some people, this will be it. But I'll show you how to end it wherever you're at. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again down here. Sandwich the bottom piece in half, wrap it around, gather that in front, and secure it with a hair tie. Okay, and flip it inside out. Okay, so now that I'm down here, I don't really think this underneath. You could end it here, or you could try to do another one. I don't really think that's going to be enough. So I think, I love how my camera just decides it's going to stop recording whenever it wants to. It's super cool. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap it around once more because I don't think it'll look too good if I stop it here. So I'm going to separate the bottom, come around, and let me grab another hair tie because I ran out. This one broke. This puppy's new, it's not been used, so it's a little stiff. Okay. Might seem kind of silly to just even bother trying to do this on these bottom pieces, but I think it'll make the difference of it looking good or like it just abruptly stopped. Because this is so small, I'm not going to try to flip it in there. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take the underneath part and do the same thing. So I'm going to split that in half and bring that over the top too. And then I'm just going to secure them together. So now I'm gonna bunch the hair back together and secure it that way. And, oh thank God I have more of these. So I started out with 7 hair ties, I needed 9 for my length. So I pulled, here's the top one that I just did that did not get flipped. Here's the underneath. And I'm gonna pull around in front. And then I'm just going to bind them both together, the hair strands back together. All right. And these are the kind of things where like this is gonna look probably slightly different than it did when I started. Every time you do this, it'll look a little bit different because there's just no way to get it exact every single time, but it'll look good and you'll get lots of compliments regardless. My hair's caught on my earring. There we go. Okay, so now you've got this, which is kind of cool, but it needs to be more rough and fluffed up. Plus, you can see that, which I don't like. So this is just the visual part. You just have to figure out where it needs to be pulled at and roughed up. You're not gonna do too much to it, so you might as well just get in there and start pulling. So that's what I'm going to do. This, underneath here, I'm gonna pull this hair tie down, and then I'm gonna pull at this hair that's very tightly mixed in there. You just gotta pull at all of this stuff together. That way it starts to kind of come together. Then, like right here looks a little flat. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna pull at that, above it and around it. And you'll see the bottom will start to kind of like it wants to like curve now because I'm pulling, but we're gonna keep going and then we'll fix that at the end. So you're just gonna kind of want to pull apart each of these little guys. And this will also help to hide the hair ties, so you won't see them as well. I apologize if I'm breathing really heavily, but that's what 35 weeks pregnant sounds like, if anyone's wondering. So we're just pulling and pulling and making sure that this all looks good. If anything needs to be pulled more so that it blends softer together. But I think that that's all good to go. And then this bottom in here, I'm not really crazy about the way that this looks, but this is really good to do for a blog because this is a real situation where you're like, that doesn't look good. It's not like a perfect, and here's my video of me doing my hair and it's perfect. I hit a little snag. So what do I want to do with this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it apart and I'm going to flip it in. Much better. Now I'm happy. Okay. Just gotta kind of improvise. Sometimes it's not perfect every time. Sometimes it's never perfect, but it's close enough. Alrighty, let's see. What do you think? I'm happy with it. It's close enough to what we started with. And then because we pulled at this looks more like swoopy and soft. And then, this isn't plugged in, but then whatever's hanging out, because you don't want this to be like, all of this hair to be secured in there. Maybe you do, but I don't. So you'll take a few pieces out You don't want to pull too much because you don't want to pull like a big chunk of this out, but just around this very, very fine hair around your hairline. You can just kind of pull that out, put it in the iron, let it sit there for a second like that, pull it out, and you'll get like little loose waves. This is exactly what I did this morning, so I'm not putting more heat on my hair because God knows it doesn't need it, but that's what you would do. Same thing on this side. Voila! I don't have a name for it. If you want to name it, leave it in the comments. But I like it, and I hope you do too. Hopefully this helps. I know a few of my friends, by the way, this little piece is sticking out. I have a lot of layers. I don't care. I like it because it's all roughed up and fluffy, so that's fine with me. But yeah, I have a lot of friends, previous clients that wanted to see a video on these sorts of things, so that's why it's up here. So I hope it helps. Thank you. Subscribe, like this post if you want to, and I'm gonna do some more. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.